For those of you who don't know, in my origination practice, and especially in the last 3 years, I would say 2011, 12, and 13, I did anywhere from 50 to 63 million, and over 50% of that, over 50% was a product of a direct referral from a financial planner or a client that originally came from a financial planner who referred me to someone else. 50+%. So I want to have a conversation this morning around why financial planners, what you should be looking for. I'm going to actually introduce you to, well, online, 3 different groups who all practice very differently, 2 of which gave me anywhere from 20 to 30 million a year, and a new friend of mine who actually manages a group of 20, and what they're looking for. I'm also going to be sharing with you guys some questions that you can ask as you're in these conversations and how to meet them. So I'm not really sure how long it's going to take to go through that. I'm going to say maybe 10 minutes. We're going to open it up for Q&A after that. So I want to first just kind of go through and share some thoughts as to how I practice. Then we'll open it up for questions. If you have a question pertaining to a particular topic that I'm talking about, or one of the advisors that I worked with, please put it in the chat box. Sarah's going to be going through and monitoring the questions, and then we're going to come back when I'm done. And again, I want this to just be kind of a fluid conversation so that you guys can start to see, if you haven't already, the incredible opportunity that lies not just for yourselves, but also for your clients and for your network. These are great folks who are waiting to meet you. You all have some incredible financial planning professionals in your backyard who don't have access to resources. So I want us to go get them, okay? So as I said, these guys are waiting for you guys. And there are a host of financial planners, and what I wanted to start out with is just giving you a sense of who to be looking for. You really want to be targeting smaller boutique firms where the advisors have a holistic approach to asset and debt management. Sheira, what do you mean by that? My own personal financial advisor from years ago when I was married, he is a great guy, super knowledgeable, worked at UBS, and did not get involved at all in his clients' mortgage situations. He always wanted to know what their numbers were. We let him know if we were making any changes. He never made recommendations. And they don't, guys, because the big banks like UBS, Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch, they are beyond handcuffed when it comes to making referrals. And they often have a lending arm in-house. Now, I don't want to make a blanket statement and say, if guys, you may come across someone who is open to referring you. I'm just saying, generally speaking, the greatest relationships, the most productive partnerships are going to be with those smaller boutique firms, like where they're an independent agent or firm, they're associated with a broker dealer like LPL Financial, Commonwealth Financial, Northwestern Mutual. So I thought what might be helpful is to give you guys an idea of, to show you, introduce you who I worked with. I love using Andre as an example. So Andrea Winter, when I first met her, I met her at a networking event. We were sitting, it was a women's networking event. We were sitting at a group of table of 8. She looked like she was 12 at the time. She was probably 5 years into her career with Ameriprise. She was a rising star with Ameriprise Financial, and someone who has always wanted to just have an incredibly holistic approach to planning with her clients. It wasn't always just about their finances. It was about all different areas. She's really committed to making sure that her clients feel comfortable. And as her practice evolved, she was with management with Ameriprise for a while, and about 10 years ago, she went out on her own and created E3 Financial Planning. So she has, her team looks like, she's got Kevin, John, Casey is her admin person, Ashley. So she's got a team of about 5. They have their own planning practice. Andrea now is at a point where she only works with clients with 2 million in assets and above. She's actually not taking on, she'll occasionally bring on new clients, but she's now in the kind of the paring down phase. Whereas Brianna or Ashley, they're younger, they have younger practices, and they may be open to working with someone who's kind of more in the building phase of their net worth, or who maybe just has a 401k. The other interesting thing about Andrea is that she made a decision 10 years ago that she loves working with women in transition. All of her clients didn't come through the divorce process, but this is her jam. This is what lights her up. This is the focus of her practice is really in divorce planning. So that's what's unique about her. So as I would be working with Andrea, it was really important that I was able to show options for her clients based on what was happening during their transition. Are they selling the home? Are they going to be in the home for a short period of time? We used a lot of ARMs, adjustable loans, with her clients, because a lot of them were only going to be in their homes for 5 years and beyond. So that was a very unique aspect of the practice with her as she was growing. The next one was Mike Schreiber. Guys, this is where your Tuesday system, or whatever day you are reaching out to your past clients, Mike Schreiber is a product 100% of client loyalty program. I had a client, Hal, who was introduced to me by another client. And over the course of about 1.5 years, they bought a second home. I was able to proactively reach out to him to refinance, to restructure his loan when I thought that something better might be available. He never reached out to me. I always reached out to Hal. And at one point, back in 2012, I received an email from Mike. And it literally said this: Hal will not stop talking about you. You are the most proactive professional he has ever come across. I am in a position to refer about 50 people a year. Do you think you might have time to come to my office? And that was that. I ended up meeting with Mike. Mike had a loan officer that he had been working with for 3 years at that time. He was very frustrated with the communication style of this other lender. He felt like the other individual really looked at his clients as a paycheck. He sensed that. And so we began a relationship, and Mike was challenging. He's a stickler for communication. He likes things done his way. And I was able to adapt to really mirror his style. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit as to what advisors are looking for. So it was critically important to Mike. As you see, he's been in business. He's been in business for 3 years. Again, his clients tended to be higher net worth folks, although he did have some folks who were on the lower end of that spectrum. But he was not looking for referrals from me. It was critically important to Mike that his clients receive an experience that 100% mirrored his. He wanted them to feel cared for. He wanted them to feel special. He wanted to make sure that he was included in the conversation as to what was going to transpire with their mortgage. Not throughout the entire process, but in that planning, we always wanted to make sure is the mortgage that we are creating, whether it's a refinance, whether it's a purchase loan, whether we're buying a second home or an investment property, is it in alignment with their overall financial goals, short-term and long-term? That was what was most important to Mike. And after about a year and a half, I knew I had a sense of what his clientele looked like, and I had a sense of what to be on the lookout for. And so as I was doing my 6-month and annual reviews, I was constantly asking my clients, talk to me about what's happening in your financial world right now. How comfortable are you with what's happening with your 401k, with your investments? Do you have an advisor that you're working with? Are they a 10? Is there anything lacking? Because if at any point you need me to introduce you to the best of the best, I have several different advisors and would be more than happy to introduce you to someone that's going to kind of fit your personality style. So I was always on the lookout, and I was actually able to refer Mike a couple of people. Was it a ton? No, I think I probably referred, I would say maybe 4 over the course of 2 years, but that wasn't what was most important to him. What was most important was that I deliver a 5-star experience for his clients, that our rates were competitive, that my communication style was impeccable. That's what was most important. His firm now is pretty small. He's got 2 other advisors and a client service associate. And again, guys, I left in 2013. Not a single solitary person followed up with Mike. No one from my old office. So he has been without any type of partner for the last better part of 3 years, and continues to ask me why I won't start originating again. But I think we've solved that problem. So here's another. Now this is a John Laredo Concord Wealth Management. This is a different type of environment, but one that really interests me. John's a relatively new friend of mine. I met him about a year ago, and he is actually in charge of managing, developing advisors. This is more, he has probably 20 younger advisors that he works with. I would say most are 1 to 3 years in. He's doing a lot of training and developing of his advisors. Some are older, but they're very, very super focused on corporate culture. And so when I asked him, I said, hey, out of curiosity, do you guys have loan officers that you work with on a regular basis? And he said, no one ever calls on us, ever. And so in talking with John, I was really curious about, what would prompt them to have a relationship with new advisors. What is it that they would be looking for? But again, guys, here's an opportunity. Here's a group of individuals who are, not only are they really honing their craft and they're developing their own practice, but they're folks who don't have access to resources. They're not going to know what to look for. So this is a great example of being able to have advisors in your network for the people, the first-time buyers, the young families that are starting out, folks who are, maybe they're contributing to a 401k, but they haven't really structured an intentional investment practice yet. John's team, his younger advisors, those are great people to make introductions to, because they're going to take the time to talk about 401ks, to manage $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in investments, knowing that those clients are going to grow with them. So this is why it's so important to talk to as many different advisors as you can to get a sense of, A, are they in alignment with the business and the goals that you have for yourself? And also, you want to have different personality styles. I can't refer, not everyone I come across is going to have 2 million plus in investable assets that I can refer to my friend Andrea, right? But I do have her sister Ashley, or Kevin, they're going to be accessible for folks who are just starting out or who are more middle of the road. It was also important to me, Michael, at one point, Schreiber, he had a younger gal, Michaela, who just loved working with really young professionals, like early 20s, just starting out. Hey, I don't have anything to invest yet, but how do I structure a budget? How do I start to save so that I can really put my best foot forward as I, grow in my career and up my earning potential? So it's important to have different types of folks that you can work with that are going to target different types of clients. The best way to find these folks, guys, is look to your database. This is the Tuesday conversation. This is part of reaching out to your database and your clients is also, hey, are you working with someone currently who you would say is an 8 or a 9 out of 10 as far as financial planning? And I am really excited about adding a key advisor to my network this year. You were the first person I thought of. I go through some very specific scriptings, guys, in level 1 videos under Maximize Your Network. But your database is going to be the greatest place to meet these people because they're going to be able to give you a warm introduction. Another great place is B&I groups, networking groups. That's how I met Andrea. When I was starting out and building my business, I was really clear about the types of organizations that I wanted to be a part of, and I invested in those organizations. I wasn't out every night of the week, but there was eWomen, there was Provisors, there was B&I. I picked a few that I really wanted to dive deep into, and I wanted to meet folks in those groups, and that's where Andrea came from. But folks like Michael, you are going to be able to meet great professionals through your network. And as you're having conversations, guys, with your clients, if they don't have an advisor, please make sure to make a note of that in the event that they're open to an introduction in the future, right? Because at some point, they're going to be ready and open to have a conversation with someone to really hone in on their overall financial plan. And as I worked with Michael and Andrea, and I spent some time talking to John a couple of weeks ago and asked, hey, what is it that you're looking for? And he said, listen, he goes, if someone were to approach my firm, the biggest thing, the most important is we want them to know, I would want to know that they're knowledgeable, that they're trustworthy, and that they're really focused on client service. He said, it's important that he goes, listen, my team is not going to be versed. They're versed in financial planning. They're not versed in mortgages. So I would want to make sure that the person who's reaching out to my team, who's looking to develop a partnership with us, that they be familiar, or they have a team of folks who are familiar with different product offerings, that they're just knowledgeable about structuring loans in a way that are going to meet our overall objectives for our clients. I want to make sure that they're not looking at our clients as a commission, that they're looking at this as a relationship, because we are developing a firm, we're building a firm and developing relationships with our clients for life. So it's very important that if I'm aligning with an insurance professional or mortgage professional or someone else, that they have the same focus on client service that we do. He said, communication is key. He goes, listen, I don't want to be involved, and I wouldn't want any of my guys to be involved throughout the entire mortgage process, but I do want to make sure that we're kept in the loop as to the type of loans that you're structuring, to any potential hiccups that may be happening. We just want to be kept in the loop. That's all. And as I said earlier, it was important to John, as it was Andrea and Michael. We want to make sure that the experience that you are creating, the experience that you're delivering for your clients, for our clients, is going to mirror the experience that they've had with us. So in my example with Michael, he had a loan officer who was super competent, who was very knowledgeable, who, did a lot of business. But the experience that guy was creating for Michael's clients wasn't as hands-on, it wasn't as thoughtful, it wasn't as proactive as the experience that Michael was creating. So it's important that you mirror their experience. And then also to be proactive. Guys, it doesn't matter if we are in a rising rate environment or a lowering rate environment. Life happens all the time. We all know this. We make changes. And your clients, whether they bought 6 months ago, 6 years ago, they're going to have life experiences. So the 6-month checkup, that follow-up, just like a doctor follow-up, is so important to make sure, hey, has anything changed? Has anything, any major life occurrences, or someone may lose an advisor or be in need of a CPA. They want us to be proactive as we're reaching out to our clients so that we can discover opportunities that they may miss during the course of the year before their meetings. And then the other thing too is introductions to key professionals. So for Andrea, she really focused on, her practice was solely focused on divorce, really working with women who are going through the transition of divorce. So I was always looking for, who are some other family law attorneys that I can connect to? I introduced her to 3 different attorneys and a marriage counselor who probably generated, I remember one of the first attorneys that I introduced Andrea to, he referred her a $2 million client. So the introductions to key professional, guys, for financial planners can be significantly greater than just introducing them to a client. So I really want you to orient yourself from the standpoint of, wow, we have a marketing system in place that's going to allow me to be so hands-on with my network, that's going to allow me to know so much more, to be able to provide resources, make introductions. This isn't just about me doing loans for them. This is about me being a resource and then sharing those resources with other like-minded professionals. This is huge. Financial planners are also, realtors are great introductions to them, CPAs, again, estate planning, insurance professionals. So that's another way that you can bring in value. And each and every one of you on this call, whether you have a huge database, whether you're just starting out, or whether you've been in the business for 30 years, you guys have a massive value prop in the system, the marketing system that you are already implementing and that you're building. Just like folks who are referring 30 plus buyers a year to realtors, you guys are going to be in a position where you are connecting with your network on a regular basis to identify opportunities where you're going to want to have other professionals that are excellent that you can refer them to. And so some of the questions that, as I was meeting with folks, and I did ask, it's interesting, Andrea is very, very open right now to using Zoom more. She's just intimidated by it. But she said, man, I got to start using Zoom more, because she's driving to New Hampshire to meet with clients. She's spending time in traffic. And she's like, that's just going to make a lot of sense. John, on the other hand, felt like an in-person meeting might be best initially, but then he was very open to the idea of leveraging technology. But when you do get in front of them, here are some of the questions that you want to be asking. How long have you been in practice, and who do you love working with? Who's your ideal client? What's the average demographic of your client base? If I know that Mike Schreiber's average client is 40 or above, and they're professionals with families, when I have a 28-year-old who's just starting out, I'm not going to introduce them to Mike, because that's not going to be the best fit. Are most of them local? Are any out of state? A lot of advisors are working in multiple states right now. John has a lot of clients in New Jersey, so he's communicating a lot in different states. That's important to know. And then when conducting annual reviews, do you also review the debt structure to make sure any mortgages are in alignment with short and long-term goals? Guys, when I started out, when I moved up to the Boston area after I got married, I interviewed 90 financial planners And only 5 of them out of 90, this is over a course of 90 days, only 5 thought that it made sense to have a mortgage professional as an extension of their team. So not everyone you talk to is going to be open or interested. Many are really hyper focused on assets only. So this is a really important question to know. And if they say no, that's cool. Just keep the meeting short. Let them know that you're available as a resource. But this is an important one. And then, do clients contact you prior to making any major purchases like a new home, second home, or investment properties? You want to know what kind of relationship do they have with their clients? Are they really involved when it comes to any type of property decisions? And then, have you had relationships with lending professionals in the past? And if so, what worked well and what could they have done better? That was the one thing that John said. He said, in an initial meeting, I would really love for any lender to ask about expectations and what does a partnership look like? Like, what has my experience been and what am I looking for? He's like, that would be a really great question that I'd like to hear in an initial meeting. And then just communication style, right? When you do refer clients to a trusted lending advisor, how involved do you like to be in the process? You guys are leveraging technology to create exceptional experience with clients, to share loan options that meet short and long-term goals. So it would be great to know, would they like to be CC'd on the initial video review? That's something that can open up a really cool conversation when you're in this first meeting. And then, as we talked about, aside from potential clients that meet your ideal criteria, are there other professionals that I might be able to introduce you to build your practice? And then, what does a successful professional partnership look like to you? I would only bring this last question up if you've gotten to the point where, there's a synergy, the conversation's going well, you've identified that they do want to refer other professionals, they are reviewing mortgages, it is something they're open to, then I would absolutely ask them, what does a successful professional partnership look like? So those are some of the questions that I asked in meetings. But I think the key, guys, that I really wanted to convey is that there is so much opportunity in your backyard. And it really helps if you start to orient yourself. If we are in fact building clients for life, if we are in fact creating a client loyalty program, if we are really committed to making sure that our clients are so comfortable, not just with their mortgage financing, but with their finances in general, doesn't it make sense that we should have lending professionals that we can refer them to if and when they want those introductions? Because not everyone is getting great advice when it comes to divorce, when it comes to financial planning. So just know that these conversations that you can have on Wednesdays as a result of getting introductions from your network, it's not about being attached to every conversation, guys. Think of it as you're looking for that needle in a haystack. You're looking for your Andrea, your Michael, your John, because you all have them. If anyone does have any additional questions, you can unmute yourself, ask away.
Sheira, I have a question for you.
Yes.
You mentioned that you interviewed 90 financial planners. Where did you get that? How did you come up with those 90?
Great question. Now, keep in mind, this was 2006. I had just moved I lived in a suburb outside of Boston, very affluent area. None of the realtors would talk to me. So I decided to go in the direction of financial planners. I looked at, most of them came from LinkedIn. I was a big LinkedIn user at the time. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because I actually wanted to show you guys today. Right now, if I had my existing database, which all of you do, I would absolutely go to my network first, guys. Seriously, your network has folks. But I got a notification today. Oh, here, yeah, from this guy, Michael. He sent me a request. Just want to drop you a quick note, say thanks for connecting with me here on LinkedIn. I endorse some of your skills. Guys, this is what people do, and it's annoying, but I mean, we can use it to our advantage, right? So he's just kind of, basically, giving me his little sales spiel over LinkedIn, which is fine. But I might write back to him, hey, Michael, thanks so much. I have a great relationship with my advisor right now. However, I am reaching out to my network every 6 months to ensure that they are getting the best possible financial planning advice possible that's in alignment with the mortgage that we've created. I would love to spend 15 minutes on Zoom, just learn a little bit more about your practice, who you're looking to target, who your ideal client is, and see if there's a basis for us to do business together. I would write that to him today, right? So you can go into LinkedIn and seek out, you can do a search for financial planning professionals in your area. But guys, don't do this until you've had conversations with your existing network. I would first take my top 20 to 50 clients. I would go highest loan amount, highest net worth. Who are the connectors in your network? I would reach out to those people first and foremost. Hey, listen, you are someone that I love working with. You clearly you've got financial disciplines in place. You have your act together. You're the first person I thought of. Do you work with a financial planning professional that's like an 8 or a 9 out of 10? Helpful?
Yes, thank you.
You are welcome. Anybody else have a question? Comment?
I put one in the chat box for you.
How do you frame what your role would be on the relationship? Did you ever use the term debt manager? Yes. I actually would say all the time, Eric, it is so important for me that my clients are just really comfortable with their finances in general. You manage assets, I manage debt. So I know that often clients may refinance, they may restructure, they may go out and buy property without taking into consideration all the different options out there, the debt options, that and we want to make sure that they're in alignment with the goals, that the strategies that you've implemented. So 100%. I just saw us as a team. And again, if you're targeting, if you happen to be introduced to a younger advisor, say someone that's on John's team, they're going to be very referral focused, right? They are going to want to hey, how can you help me? What's in it for me? Are you going to be able to refer people to me as much as I'm going to refer them to you? You're going to come across that if you're talking to someone who's probably, first 5 years in.
Right.
But the more seasoned, some of your clients, those top 20 to 50, and the folks who are older, right? They're probably going to have advisors who are more concerned, like Michael and Andrea were, about the client experience versus necessarily, hey, are you going to be able to send people my way?
I had a question. How would you thaw a relationship that has gone cold over, let's say, a couple months? I've got a couple of financial planners I used to deal with, back in the day that do, a good amount of business, but, it's gone cold recently. So how would you suggest maybe that I start to thaw, if I could use that word, start doing business with them again?
So this is not a John answer. This is for everyone, right? The first and foremost, guys, and this is the same goes for any type of professional that we are looking to have a relationship with. The first thing, it starts from the mindset, right? So make 100% certain that you are approaching this from a place of service, that your intention is to build a relationship, to create a relationship, or to continue a relationship. It is not about what you're going to get from it. It's not about who they're going to send you. So in answer to your question, John, I'll tell you guys, if I were a part of this community today, I would be leveraging it. I would be leveraging what I was doing every single chance that I got. So, hey, John, would love to touch base with you for 5 minutes. I know we've had an opportunity to work together in the past. Man, I am a part of an incredible coaching community of some of the top lenders in the country. We have some very specific marketing strategies in place where, man, I am reaching out to my network every 6 months to make sure that they are getting the best of the best advice. I want to make sure, I want to revisit our partnership. I want to not just share with you how I can best serve you, but I really want to get clear about where are you going in 2018 and how can I support you? Because we talked this weekend in San Diego with our level 2 folks about scripting. And I can give you a list of questions that worked for me and that I used. But at the end of the day, guys, whether you're talking to a client, to a realtor, to a financial planner, to a divorce attorney, the key is always going to be, is it coming from your heart? Is what you're saying, the language that you're using, is it resonating with who you are? So for me, I was a financial disaster in my 20s and straight up early 30s. I had no relationship with money. I did have a relationship with money. It was highly dysfunctional. So as I was building my practice, my mortgage practice, man, I wanted to save people from the pain that I went through. I wanted people as young as their 20s to be so comfortable and confident in the financial security that they were building. That mattered to me. So when I spoke to financial planners, like, I could really get excited about that because I wanted to learn what kind of practice were they creating, or what had they built? Who are their favorite people to work with? Like, I got really excited about learning more about what they did because it mattered to me, because I saw the impact that it made in my life when I started to align myself around financial professionals that just helped me make sense of all of it. Does everybody get that?
Yeah, sure. It's Eric. I got another question for you.
Yes.
Might it be a smart thing to do if you do have a younger agent that's been in the business 5 years or less, to maybe see if they to serve our clients, to see if they maybe do a Zoom meeting with us where they do just the 2 or 3 basics of financial planning to
100%.
And that way they get their face out there. Plus we serve with our network by giving our network a little bit of information, because I mean, so many people in their 30s and 20s the last thing they think about is setting anything up for retirement. And I mean, I didn't start doing anything till I was in my late 40s. So
yeah, 100%, 100%. And Zoom is a great way to do that. And along the lines of technology, guys, I know we've got a lot of mortgage coach users here. I was a power user with Mortgage Coach. I started with them when they first just had the PDFs, total cost analysis. Then they had the audio, recording that you could do. And then how I got comfortable with video was doing Mortgage Coach videos. Guys, that using Edge and showing having me show up on the screen, sharing different options, this was a game changer for me when I started working with financial planners. They loved it. So as soon as I put something together, I would not only would I share it with the clients, but I would always CC the advisors. And on that initial call, I would share with them some of the ways that you're leveraging technology to really create an exceptional experience for their clients, and how you're going to convey different options. And, Stacey shared in the chat, the hardest part that I've had is not getting buy-in from financial planners that they would refer, the same as the CPAs. Again, this is all going to start with you. Guys, get clear about who you want to work with and why. Like, hey, man, that girl Andrea looks really cool. Like, man, that would be really fun. That would be awesome to work with a financial planner who really serves the divorce community. Man, I would love to partner with someone like that. Get clear about who you want to work with. What's their communication style? What is their personality like? What does their clientele look like? Get clear about that. Make a list, just like you would with your clients, just like you would with realtors, intentional about what you want to create. And then commit to asking for introductions and having 3 conversations every Wednesday with 0 attachment. Because guys, it's just like what Eric has created with the Facebook groups, right? It did not happen overnight, but I guarantee you, if you have 3 conversations over the course of a year, you will find a Michael. You will find an Andrea, especially if you are clear about who you want to work with and why. And in the beginning, the scripting is going to feel the language might feel kind of clunky to you. It did to me. I floundered around a little bit in the beginning, but I just came from a place of curiosity. I had nothing but time, guys. I had nothing but time. No one was sending me business those first 90 days. So I just made appointments with financial planners all over Boston. I got lost. I missed appointments. I met with people who literally the meetings lasted 5 minutes. They wanted nothing to do with me. It was not the most enjoyable experience in my life, but I came from a place of curiosity. I said, here's what's important to me. It's important to me that my clients feel really comfortable with their finances. I'm going to be meeting people in all walks of life, folks who are just starting out and folks who have 2 million and above to invest. I'm really curious about how are you building your practice? What's important to you? Are you in a position where, you're referring people to other professionals? Is there a basis for us to do business together? If not, that's awesome. But I really you came so highly recommended by our mutual client. I wanted to see if there's a way that we can work together. You guys, you could have 100 conversations before finding the one.
I was wondering if when you're talking to financial planners, if you find some that are great, but some that are kind of like I would call A, B, C, so maybe B and C financial planners in terms of you developing a relationship, do you continue to follow up with them and drip them in any particular manner to kind of warm up that relationship?
Awesome point. The other thing that I loved, guys, too, is that they're pretty low maintenance from a meeting standpoint. So what you guys are sharing with your database, when we talk about sharing the Thursday posts, these are great stories to share with all the professionals in your network. Maybe not every Thursday. If it's one that there are some posts that are very realtor focused, but you guys, we have a whole database of, we have over, I think, 200 posts that Derek has written on the client site. And you can pick and choose from them. And a lot of those tell stories in a way that are going to resonate with different professionals, right? Or it could just be a case study. As I started to work with clients and structure loans and share different options for my financial planners, I had a library of case studies, right? And so sharing case studies, hey, you know what? Janelle came to me and she was convinced that in order to, when she refinanced, that the 30-year fix was the way to go. And then she realized she's only going to be in the home for another 5 years when her daughter gets out of school. And a 7/1 ARM really made sense. It reduced her cash flow by $1,800 per month. She was able to divert that towards her retirement fund. So think of, you can also create case studies to share with them. And guys, here's something to share in your small masterminds. You may not have case studies, but folks in your mastermind might. People in this group do. So borrow stories from one another. I say all the time, if you're just starting out Facebook groups and you don't have the experience of being able to refer 27, 30 people a year like Eric does right now, borrow his story. Hey, you know what? Man, I am a part of a coaching community and a mastermind group of some of the top lenders in the country. And man, I have a marketing system in place that is going to allow me to be so dialed into my network. One of my colleagues has referred 30 people in the past year to realtors as a result of what he's created over the last 2 years. Man, I'm not there right now, but man, I'm going there. I want to build this with you. That can be applied to any professional partner that you talk to. But team, if we're not really clear about who we are, what we're doing, and why and who we want to partner with, then what's going to happen is we can kind of get stuck in that talking to a bunch of people and getting attached to the result, or talking to the wrong people who we may not necessarily want to refer our clients to.
I just wanted to share something because I work with a local boutique financial advisor group. There's 8 financial advisors in there. And what worked for me was I refer them, they do life insurance. So when I have a home buyer, I refer the home buyer. It's one part of our discussion that we talk about insuring the purchase. A lot of first-time home buyers, insuring a $400,000 mortgage is going to cost them nothing on a 20-year term. So I get them in front of the financial advisor that way. I will warn that I went through 2 other groups before I found this one, because a lot of times they want to upsell immediately, and it's not that kind of conversation. But when they recognize that, hey, I'm getting in front of a client, we could do a 6-month review, a year review, and then we're going to look at investing in retirement and other products. They see the value of that relationship. So I don't know if it's different in other parts of the country, but here that's worked really well for me with that group.
It's awesome that you brought that up, because when I was talking to John, his firm actually does that. They insure the mortgages as well. So like, for example, if someone was talking to John Laurito and Concord Wealth Management, that would probably be a great referral for them, right? So it takes a lot of, there isn't any type of Google search that you can do, guys. It says, I want the best financial planners that meet my criteria in my state. You got to have a lot of conversations, but it's staying committed to the why, and staying committed to the fact that we are here to serve our clients powerfully and to refer them to the best of the best resources. That is the name of the game. Well, guys, I hope this has been helpful. Have conversations, reach out. All of you are part of a small mastermind group, so have this conversation in your small groups as well, and see how you can support one another in expanding our reach. You guys have an outstanding day. Have a great week. See you soon. Bye.